Yo, brother, good evening. What's up? Come to VC, okay? Yo,
Yo, bro.
oh yeah. By the way, hit the 50 subscriber mark, by the way. Pretty
Wait,
excited.
what?
Hit the 50 subscriber mark, bhai.
You hit the 50 subscriber mark?
Yeah.
Congratulations, bro.
By the way,
Wait, what? Wait. Your stream has like a lot of delay.
like, I guess 5 to 10 seconds of delay.
I think like 15 or something.
Can't help, brother, because my internet is pretty much bad. And
Are you working on the Sigma GSA right now?
yeah, I'm working on the landing page.
Where is the other guy?
I guess he's sleeping. He was working late night.
By the way, what time is it for you right now?
4:27.
27.
And for you?
For me, it's 3:57.
So like a 30-minute gap.
Yeah. 30. Bro, what do you think is like the fastest way to learn full stack?
Fastest way, I guess, just do projects, hit the road, make mistakes and learn from it.
Alright. When you were like starting full stack, did you do like a course?
Course, if I have to be honest, if you are like, I did this mistake like previously. I was like learning from a course and not doing it like practically, okay? So I was stuck in a like a tutorial hell kind of thing. So later I like realized that if I'm just watching the videos and not doing anything, then it's not going to help. So I like left watching any videos,
Alright.
like start doing it myself.
Alright, nice.
So where is this problem? I can't. E51 vector is undefined. Code Facebook. Nice. I hope I could have.
Wait, what happened?
What's next? Code Discord. Code macOS. Nice. Code Fortune. Okay. Then I have to like code the entire dark web, right? Yeah, Reddit clone kind of like it's interesting. I might do a Reddit clone someday. Code LinkedIn. Bro started like a code chain. What is this code chain, bro? Damn. He's still there? Yeah, you muted. Okay.
Bro, why are there like bots in your YouTube?
I don't know. They are bots, right? I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, like they have weird usernames and
Yeah,
profile pictures.
I don't know. The usernames are funny. The the pictures are also funny. Damn. Yeah, these are bots. You are right.
Wait, but like, why would bots say stuff like that?
I don't know.
But like, why would bots say stuff
They
like
are
wait?
saying they're not bots. I mean, feels like it. The names are really weird. Nice. I don't know, তুই ডিসকর্ডে আয়। Yeah, that would be cool. By the way, welcome to the stream, Ashish. Your name is Ashish too. My name is kind of pronounced Ashish.
Bro, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Can you show me what you've done with Sigma DSA?
Wait, let me show. Right now designing the login page. Then I'll move on to the like a home page.
Alright, nice.
Looks good now.
Yeah, it looks really good right now. Can you like tell me what features will like the Sigma DSA will have?
I guess Subranil would be like he can like explain it to you more like properly.
Alright.
It will have like basic features of like practicing DSA, like a code editor or questions. That's all.
How long do you think this will take you to finish?
1 month probably.
up doing that. Now,
bidden in their TOS, and then they got evicted and had to write their own.
Yes, exactly. And how wonderful is that? Imagine if they had somehow worked it out with BitKeeper. We would have been without Git. We'd still been fucking subversion everything. No, thank you. So some of this conflict and tension should not be seen as like a necessary or an evil. It's actually beneficial. It is in that grind, it is in that robbing. We realize we're not all the same. We don't want the same things. There shouldn't just be one project. There shouldn't just be one framework. There shouldn't just be one programming language. There should be a multitude of them. And you should gravitate towards the one that most closely resemble what you would like to see and what you would like to have. And this is why we need a bunch of choices. This is why we should not sort of just converge on 5 things, which I know the internet loves a horse race, right? Like there's always like, oh, is this framework more popular than that framework? Like they constantly want to converge. No. Don't converge. Have enough choices, have enough options to realize programmers are weird and wonderful in very idiosyncratic ways that are incompatible. You can't take all the people who write the fucking Go code and shove them into a Ruby project and then like they're gonna be.
Yeah, you can like join our Discord server. Wait, I'll send the link. Like check the groups, like the video's description. I'll post it here. Every day I forget to post the Discord link.
Be happy. That's not just no. Like we want different things. Actually, I mean, maybe Go is the wrong example. We have some folks on the team who do write Go, and I think they sort of like it okay too.
Was I like muted? Refresh my video page or the video stream. You can like see the link in the description. You can join from there.
So anyway, just this idea that there are different universes that have non-overlapping, conflicting visions of what they want. And clarifying those boundaries is helpful to get people to realize what they want. Now, the first thing, of course, is most people don't know what they want. They show up and they're like, what should I use? I don't know, fucking start anywhere. It doesn't even really matter because you start with something and you realize, is this the thing that tickles my noodle? And if it doesn't, then you move on to something else. You can try like 5 things, especially early on in your career. I would not at all be in a rush to commit. Like you just start programming, oh, that's great. You should try 5 things. Once you've tried the 5 things, as we talked about in the beginning, the world isn't that large. You will realize that you've had some cursory understanding and that some things speak more to you than other things. Wonderful. Then double down, then get good, then achieve mastery, then do all the things. But don't try to get it all together. We don't want one language. We don't want one. And that's why the internet is so amazing. This is why I'm like, it's weird, but it feels like the internet needs articulation of its defense. Because we've taken the internet for granted for a long time, and then suddenly these other programming languages, or platforms I should say, showed up like mobile, native. Good luck if you don't want to write Swift or Objective-C and you want to make apps for iOS. Now, it's possible. There's React Native. There's a bunch of other things. You can sort of, kind of do it, but you'll do it as a 2nd tier or 3rd tier citizen. If you want to be a 1st tier citizen, all paid up, get access to the latest, you damn well better use whatever Apple tells you to use. And it's the same thing in the Android camp. It's not the same thing on the internet. You can literally use whatever the fuck you want on the internet. I can get that Commodore 64 with 1 megahertz to reply to an HTTP response. Now, I don't know if I want to implement HTTP 2, but HTTP 1.1, yep, could do it on a Commodore 64. That's fucking amazing. And that's why I can still use Ruby and feel like I'm a first tier citizen on the internet. Wonderful.
I wanted to just, I know Prime wants to talk about JavaScript really bad. He's pretty much been like bouncing up and down the whole time, just ready to talk about JavaScript. But I'll just interject for one moment. What you're referring to is GNU. No, I'm sorry. This is just the the thing I wanted to say is like a great example of two projects where there is a fork and they live together nicely and have different visions is Vim and NeoVim. Like NeoVim had a different vision for what they wanted, but we still contribute back and forth. We still send patches to Vim. We still like sort of, I guess, downstream their patches back into NeoVim. Like it's a very nice, harmonious relationship, and they just have different visions, and that like should be okay. Maybe in the YouTube comment sections, maybe they're not okay with it, but what can you do? They're always going to be mad about something. But like those different visions can complement each other, and I think that's a really beautiful thing about open source.
Yes, and I think this is where the competition lens often comes up short. So much of programming commentary is done through a competition lens, like which is gaining which advantage and so on, when we can just go like, do you know what? There's a lot of advancements we can make for how to make web applications, for example, just conceptual understandings and how to do it better and how to do it simpler that can be applied to a million different ecosystems. And I look at something like Elixir or Laravel or some of the others that came after Rails, where I can go like, do you know what? I smile when I see some of the Rails isms in that. And then they have other things, a part of it, that they come up with something novel and they do something else. And I can look at that and go like, oh, well, that's also a good idea. I don't have this sense like, oh, I need to smash it. Like I need to own it. I need to dominate it. I need to capture the full market share of things. And this is one of the reasons why I wrote about this a while back. I don't want to be paid to do open source. Like I fully understand that there are some contexts where that can work out, and that's fine. But I also think that as soon as you introduce the capitalist ethos into it, and I am a capitalist through and through when it comes to my actual capital and my actual business. So it's not like some communist plea here, but that there's an opportunity for open source for some people to exist outside of that realm, and I don't have to then be on market dynamics. Now, they still exist, and you can't ignore them fully, but like I don't gotta smash everything. I don't gotta conquer everything. I don't gotta beat everything. I don't have to capture all the users. I'm fucking running a show here, and you can come see it if you want, or you can not see it if you don't want. Either is good, either is fine. I'm not like making it up on the ticket sales. So when you have that attitude to it, you can look at something, and this has gotten easier for me over the years. As I said, I went through some early years where I thought like everyone should just learn to appreciate Ruby, and then they'll realize it's the one true language. After I got out of that, just realizing, you know what? This is great, because again, the main purpose here is to ignite the excitement for competence and depth and just joy in programmers. And if someone can see that spark light up in their little brain doing Elixir or Laravel or Perl or Python or Go, oh my God, that's great. That's great. Let's share some of the toys. Let's share some of the insights, while not giving up on what we have. So this is the other thing too. In a large degree, this embrace of plurality means that within your project and your domain, you can go, do you know what? We don't have to be all this other stuff because we don't have to appeal to everyone. To me, the most potent example of this is static typing. Static typing is the one thing I will literally die on the hill for Ruby. We're not fucking putting static typing into Ruby. There are a million other statically typed languages out there. There's a bunch who, in my opinion, sadly went that route when they had a beautiful dynamic language and then they turned it into a copycat of a static language. Like, ugh, I'm sorry about that for you. But if that's what floats your boat, wonderful. Go forth and be prosperous. Ruby? No. No fucking way. No. We're not doing that. There's so many other choices. We don't have to do that. We can go like, here's an environment, here's an ecosystem. We believe these 5 things. Here's another choice that believes the opposite of those. The fact that the opposite exists is what gives you the permission to be truly you. right? Like the choice is there. You can do whatever you want versus, again, the contrast here is something like the App Store, right? Like, oh, I want to put my app on an iPhone and I want to do it in a different way. No, you can't. Like, there's literally just one gate to go through. Okay, then you can get on the fucking barricades. Then you can get your pitchforks out and then we can overthrow the regime. That's fine. I'll sign up for that. But in open source, when there are literally a billion choices and, as you say, you're one fork click away from starting an alternative, no.
So you got to help me reconcile then. I would think you would then praise TypeScript. Hold me out. I know we're going a little crazy here because it actually allows JavaScript to have a duality in nature. Those that love the, say, typing masturbation, as I like to refer to it as, they can do it all day long. And then those who just want to remain in the dynamic world can just be JavaScript. Wouldn't that be a benefit of an ecosystem that can actually large tent everybody in?
Yes, if that was the happy kumbaya atmosphere of the debate within the JavaScript community, I think that would be wonderful. That's not what I've been seeing. I've been seeing, especially on the TypeScript side, I mean, not just seeing, experiencing the kind of crusades that are launched from the TypeScript high tower, right? Like literally we went through with Turbo, people opening like bullshit PRs to remove things because what savages are we? What unbelievers are we if we don't accept the true TypeScript into our hearts? And that's the problem I have. I don't fucking care. If you want to write TypeScript, great. Again, goes back to our discussion. If that's the thing that floats your boat, wonderful. Don't fucking ram it down my throat. Like, I'm not going to run TypeScript in my projects, and I'm going to work towards a TypeScript-free future as an alternative, as one path. You can choose the fork here, right? Like, I'm big on no build, and TypeScript doesn't fit within no build because it's got to be built. Like, maybe, I mean, I hope not, sort of, kind of, maybe I fucking hope, I don't know. That, like, I was going to say, I hope that browsers don't adopt it. I'm actually fine. Actually, better than fine. I would love for TypeScript to be possible in a no-build world. Like, that sounds great. You like TypeScript? Great. You still get to enjoy no-build? Woohoo! Wonderful. But for me, living in the reality we have right now, no-build implies no TypeScript. Now, again, it's not exactly a great loss for me. I don't like TypeScript at all to begin with, but that's where sort of it drives up, right? So it's when we have this kind of discourse, what I really get most, I was about to say fired up, but that used to be true. Now I just get amused. I get amused by people who will look at literal fucking reality, like the fact that we're running Hey.com, $1 million ARR business, serving email to tens of thousands of happy customers on a no-build setup, and they'll go like, yeah, that doesn't work. Like, what do you mean it doesn't fucking work? We've been running it for 4 goddamn years. Like, I've literally accumulated millions of dollars from the things that doesn't work. What do you mean it doesn't work? It's like pointing to a fucking swan. You see it flapping its air, flying across you, and you go like, yeah, physics say that doesn't work. I actually have a study saying that swans really can't fly. So I don't know what you're seeing, but your fucking lying eyes are lying to you. Swans can't fly. I have the paper right here, and it's got them peer-reviewed. What? Observe reality. Observe reality and realize if you just go, all swans are white, and there's one fucking black swan, then all swans are not white, right? Like, take your preposition and stick it somewhere. When we go, you go, no build is impossible. Or actually, it was even previous to no build. I mean, before the mind was fully blown for people, was just this idea of whether you had to bundle all your files into one entry point or not, right? Can you serve multiple files? And in our case, we're serving, I think for Hey, we're serving 120 individual JavaScript files. And someone went like, yeah, that doesn't work. I was like, first, again, exhibit flying swan, and then exhibit 2, just fucking run the thing. You can just compare it right to left, and it works. It works great. In fact, it has greater caching dynamics on expiry, for example. You have all these little files that get to live forever because the vast majority of your code does not churn all the time. When you have one bundle, the entire bundle turns over every single time you change a goddamn semicolon anywhere, right? That's not great for caching dynamics. So we can have a nuance, actually not even nuance. We can just have a technical debate about the pros and cons of that. Totally great. don't tell me the swan doesn't fly when I'm literally showing you that it does, and it's flapping in your goddamn face. That's the part that just gets me fired up.
And I do have to. I have to jump in. No, TJ, you don't get to interrupt me this time. No, there is a. Because I was watching this no build thing. I actually, from your no build, I built a no build thing for a website, and I was like, oh man, I just love this, and I understand why no build got, like, why you couldn't do that at one point. Because in our younger years, you could only have 2 concurrent connections. Like, there was a real cost to having more than one file and all that, and that has largely gone away. But I noticed nobody talked about the completely amazing caching capabilities of no build. You are 100% right. 98% of your code base changes not ever. Like that's it. It just is a stagnant piece of something that just gets delivered with a new hash every week, and it's delivered with megabytes of JavaScript. And if you're on any remotely slow connection, if you're not from the Silicon Valley, it actually is a pain in the ass. You actually have this nice 1, 2, 3, 5 second waiting for something just to show up. And yet you're getting just raked on the coals on that. How do you manage not to just eventually freak out on somebody, just being like, you're just an idiot? Because look, like, how do you remain calm? Because I've noticed a lot of your responses are more charitable. And often, even when directly getting dunked on, they're very charitable. Despite facts and science behind you, you still are being charitable. How does that, how do you manage that in the 21st century?
The key ingredient actually is age. Once you grow old enough, you realize, like, fuck it. Like, what? I'm going to fucking piss match with someone on the goddamn internet. And the insight is, any discussion I have on, say, Twitter, I'm not just talking to that person. Like, there's a coliseum here of people watching that. And if I just dump down in the mud and then we start just flinging, do you know what? That's going to have some short-term heat that is entertaining to watch. I mean, I'll get sucked into the train wreck of Twitter wars all the time, and you're just like, holy shit. And then afterwards, I'm always like, did I take anything away from that? Did I learn anything about those trade-offs? Did I appreciate anything about that? And I realize very often I don't. And I think, do you know what? What can I do to contribute less to that? And this sounds ironic, and I'll explain in a second. But how can I contribute less to that, in the sense where if someone is watching, I'm at least planting a handful of seeds where, let's say they're convinced that you have to bundle. And they hadn't really considered the caching argument. They hadn't considered big bundle that churns all the time versus small files where only a subset of them churn. You plant that seed in the moment, they're not going to hear it. They're not going to acknowledge it, because it turns into a team sport, and then it's just about, like, who dunks harder and likes and whatever. But that seed will grow. If it's a good argument, and if you do have facts on your side, eventually that seed will grow, and maybe not next week, and maybe not the week after, but like a month later, someone will go like, oh yeah, actually I remember that thing. Let's just try it. Let's just try not to build or split it up, or use more files, whatever. Let's just try it and see. And then reality, if it's on your side, if you have a good argument, is actually going to be the thing that convinces people. Because what I've found is, you can't actually convince most people most of the time in real time just with words. That doesn't work. Like, the barricades we have on our brain to protect our ego and our good standing in our community, they're so effective that there are no argument, no set of words that I can write into a little Twitter prompt that can break through that in real time. It just doesn't happen. So the main thing you do is you can lobby those seeds over past the barricades, and then you can just wait. And I have found time and again, people who show up with the barricades and they're like, you're an idiot, you're wrong. I managed to land a seed. And then I talk to that person 6 months later, and they go like, oh yeah, actually, that thing you said, we tried it. It worked. It panned out. Not always. It's not like it's full principle. Now, the other thing is it's just exposure. I was just talking about it. Like, I'm a parent. I have 3 kids. And I was talking to a new parent who's potty training their kid. And they were talking about, like, I never knew just how many bodily fluids I had to deal with, like, as you go through that process. And I go like, yeah, you really get desensitized to that amount of literal shit and piss. And that is actually an amazing gift, right? And I'm thinking this is like delusions of grandeur here, but this is what I'm imagining, like a surgeon in a war zone. They're like, sir, you gotta come over here. He's lost his leg. Yeah, 2 seconds. I gotta sew up this arm that's missing, right? Like that person's not gonna freak out over a leg, which most of us would just like, maybe would even faint seeing that, right? The exposure of just that much blood and whatever. Ugh. And then you don't have kids. You'd think it unthinkable to touch other people's literal shit, right? Like, that sounds like, what? Yeah, no amount of money can make me touch other people's poop, right? Like that's not a, and then you get a kid and you're like, yeah, I'm happy to do it. Well, I mean, that's an overstatement. I'm in the abstract happy to do it. No one is happy to, whatever. Anyway, that's what it feels like on Twitter. Like once you've touched enough fucking sawed off body parts and some piss and shit, like for long enough, you realize, yeah, that's just what this is. I have to accept that, like, that's what this channel is. And I've struggled more with that over the years than I have recently, because I've also seen what's the alternative? What is the alternative to sort of this free form, often partisan, often stupid, open discourse style of argument is not that appealing. Like whenever we go like, oh, if we could just have someone police it all. If we could somehow just like who knew what was correct and what was incorrect, and they could just take all the incorrect people and like put them somewhere, then we'd like have nirvana. Yeah, no, that didn't work out so well, did it? Like literally on every major issue over the past 5 years, there's been a consensus, or at least one consensus out of multiple. That sounds like an oxymoron, but I don't think it is, about what's right and what's wrong. And you realize, oh yeah, that was wrong. Right? Like we didn't get it right. We didn't have all the facts. We didn't know all the things. And the only way we could progress towards more right, more correct, was to entertain some of all the wrong, because a lot of the wrong turned out to be right. Some of the wrong was wrong, and some of the right was wrong. But you sort of have to just accept some of this. And I think there is a way in here. I'm not saying that like literally everyone just throwing piss and shit on Twitter is like great, and we should just embrace that, and that we should be happy for that. But I accept some sliver of it, some degree of it. And then I also try just to do my part to play my example of like, do you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to call you a retard on Twitter, even if I might think you're a retard, because that's just not what I do in a public forum. Because you know what? We can elevate things a little bit. I can think it. I can yell it at a fucking screen. I can go like, oh my God, I can't believe you're so fucking stupid. And then I can sit down for a second and go like, you know what? I don't have to tweet that. It could just like run around inside my little head. And you know what? After done 4 laps, I realize, first of all, the other party will think the same of me, that I'm the fucking retard. I will think the same of me in 2 years about at least a handful of topics. Holy shit, how are you so fucking stupid? That's fine. It can just stay in here, and then I can put forward sort of what I'd like to see more of. And now the funny thing is, one of the most common criticism I get on Twitter is that like I'm engagement farming with my positions, as though like I'm literally coming up with no build as a way to troll the builders.
That can't be real. People are actually doing that.
Oh no. That's very real. That like the whole thing is like whatever with Hay, it was a marketing scheme somehow. You're like,
you built
what?
You built an entire company and pipeline of engineers just to troll Twitter? That seems
exactly. That's where I just go like, holy shit, this is amazing theory. This is an amazing lens in the world. Everyone who thinks something else than what I think, they're just doing it to troll people. You're like, I mean, I think it's amazing. I also think it's sad. I think it's a little bit like that dog that doesn't know anything. Like you have to have a conception of the world where people can believe different things than you, and that doesn't make them insane, right? They can have different trade-offs. They can have different aesthetics. They can have different all sorts of things. Just because what to you looks controversial, this is what blows my mind. No build is not controversial to me. Cloud exit is not controversial to me. TypeScript, no thank you, is not controversial to me. Like these are just the things I believe. These are just the things I'm doing. This is just how we're running our company. This is not some ruse. I'm not sitting down like, holy shit, do you know what I could spike the internet with today? I'm just doing my work, and then I'm sharing it and I'm shipping it. So that's the other thing about like the Swan, right? Like Hey.com is an actual fucking business. with actual fucking customers. So if No Build was this disaster that couldn't work at all and it was just a pile of shit, do you know how many customers we'd have? We'd have 0. Do you know how many customers we have? Tens of thousands. Like, this is not conceptually coherent as a way to think about other people's position. That like they're all just doing it for the trolling. They're also just doing it for this. No, I also want to make money. And the way you make money is you sell things that people want. At least some people, some of the time. If you're making just something that's so dumb that no one would ever buy it, yeah, you're not going to last that long. That's the other thing I have with this is I've been doing this for 20 plus years. And that, first of all, makes you sound old, but also it also makes you sound like there's some stamina here. Like I'm not in it for one Twitter slug. Like we're just gonna punch at each other for a little bit and like then I'm done. Like I'm out. No, I gotta keep doing it. So if I go like, oh, No Build, great. Yeah, I gotta fucking work with that shit next year too when it's no longer a Twitter thing, right? So again, the cost reward ratio here would be very off if these ideas and these approaches and directions were just about the ruse.
Yeah, I totally agree. I have another topic that's related to this, but first I just want to do a quick time check. I don't know how much longer you have to hang out with us and talk.
Oh, this is good. No, we can go for a bit further here. Let me just see if I have other stuff. No, don't. Let's just
Okay, sweet.
keep it rolling.
Okay,
Okay,
because
awesome.
people want the general conception is this could go on for 5 hours and I would not be upset. So just so
Maybe
you
not
know.
5 hours. Maybe not
Yeah.
5 hours.
Yeah.
But we can roll another until the top of the hour.
Oh, sweet. Okay, great.
Okay.
That'd be awesome. Because we'll probably talk maybe 1, maybe 2 more topics, then we'll start taking a few audience questions. So one of the things that you had said about sort of recognizing that your past self didn't understand something and then understanding it much better later, that I really sort of like resonated with on a not technical but personal level is from your article about Children of You, and just. Maybe you can sort of summarize what your position is about the feeling of having kids and the sort of life change experience it is. It's something that Prime and I have talked a lot about. So I just think it would be kind of fun to have sort of a non-technical side discussion about that aspect.
I think it's a great question and one with great weight, literally for the future of the world. But I also do think it has interesting, funny, sometimes hilarious parallels to technology. And I'll start with it in the sense that a lot of technology that's very popular, a lot what you will hear is all the reason people don't like it. Like if you go on some board and you look up some car model, like actually yesterday I was looking at an Alfa Romeo Giulia. And I was like, oh, I hear there's something about reliability issues, maybe. So I go on the boards, I search for it. And you know what I find? I find a bunch of reliability issues. Because you know who fucking writes on the internet? People with problems. So that's what you see. You see people with problems outnumber the people who just go on with their merry life, not just go on with their life, but loving it, right? Loving their Giulia in this example. Outnumbered 10 to 1, 100 to 1, 1,000 to 1. I think that's a little bit what's been happening with parenthood. We have actually been inundated for I don't know how long with all the ways it's shitty to be a parent. It's fucking expensive, and like, how could you even do it to the climate, and like all these other decel bullshit, crazy ideas of how we could turn ourselves into extinction, right? Like all that, like that's been the prime thing because do you know what? That's no. The people who just go like, do you know what? The laughter of my 4-year-old is literally the most amazing sound that exists in this world. Most of those people don't go to Twitter to write that. Like it sounds banal. And it sounds banal because it's so universally true that it feels like I don't need to say that, right? Yeah, right up until the 1,000 to 1 ratio has poisoned everyone's head into thinking that having kids is just insurmountable challenge. And I'm like, do you know how you fucking got onto this earth? There's literally like 5 million years of people who have it far worse than you, who had to fight fucking literal saber-tooths. If they didn't fight a saber-tooth back then, you weren't here, right? Like that's your great, whatever, triple 50 times ancestor. So you're like fretting over the fact that like, I don't get as much free time to drink mimosas then. Like what? What? Like I wanna play some more Call of Duty. Like on my free time. Um, I think we need to correct that ratio somewhat by some testimony of just how goddamn amazing it is to literally create life from like stuff floating around like right below your boxers. Like that turns into this amazing kid who I would literally at any second with no hesitation sacrifice myself. Like I don't have that level of devotion to any of my ideas, any of my creative pursuits, any of anything. I'd be like, you can't do Ruby on Rails tomorrow. I'd be like, oh man, that's a real bummer. Okay, I'll figure something else out. Like you start questioning like the future of my children, and I'm like, yeah, I will nuke a billion people. Like, okay, where's the button? Like if that's the trade-off here, that's what I'm gonna do. Now that sounds insane. And that is actually the appeal of parenthood. It is an embraced shared form of insanity. And insanity from the perspective of like, I don't have kids. Because it sounds so far out and it's so hard to relate the elation, the life satisfaction that comes from having children, that it's almost like the other thing we talked about, like it's actually difficult to use words because words can describe like the things you know. Oh, less free time for my mimosas and Call of Duty. Oh, I know that. I know Mimosa. I know Call of Duty. Like I can hold a controller. Trade it up against like literal fucking life you created. You haven't created any other life. It's not like, oh yeah, I was just doing some biohacking in my basement and came up with this mutant that was really cute. Like that's not a sort of experience you've otherwise had, right? So you literally don't have a context to relate the words to. So when I say like I would sacrifice myself in a heartbeat for any of my children for almost any reason, like that doesn't hit, right? Like it doesn't go in there because there's no slot for that information to penetrate. Do you know what's interesting is I've had another topic where I've faced this, and this is about wealth. So I became a millionaire like pretty early in my life. I think 26, no, what was that? 27, something like that. And I had this conception that life was just going to be just a puffy cloud after that, right? Like, what the fuck you mean I don't have to worry about any money of any kind? Oh man, I'm just floating on the cloud. Every day is amazing. Every minute is a feast. Everything is just, no, it wasn't, right? And then you realize it's better. Like, I'd rather be rich than I'd not be rich. But it's also not like the thing you think it is. But I can't use the words I have from that experience to tell you that. Because first of all, you can tell me I'm full of shit. And it's just because you got yours and all these other things. And you can't actually conceptualize what life is like after that. It's a little bit the same thing. Now, the good thing is having children is far more accessible than becoming a millionaire. So it literally just requires you to find someone that hopefully you love, but at least that you can tolerate for like hopefully the rest of your life, or at least until those kids are older. Like that's, I mean, the whole human race did that. Like that's why you're here. That's why we're here. Like the lineage, 100% hit ratio, 100% hit ratio, all the way back to the dawn of man. For you to be here, people did that, right? So don't tell me it's that hard. This is one of the techniques I often use to make myself learn something or realize something. Like I'll, I don't know, I try to learn how to surf. Like surfing is actually kind of hard, like the first time, and it takes a lot of, you get one shot right on the board, you fucking fall off, and now you gotta swim all the way out to the wave, and you gotta wave until the right wave. And I would often go like, this is too hard. And then I'd go like, in human history, how many people learned how to surf? It's gotta be hundreds of thousands, maybe millions. Am I that stupid? Am I that uncoordinated that literally
আরে মাইকটা খোলো না, কেউ নেই তো, বারবার চ্যাট দেখতে ভালো লাগে। THH is like creator of Ruby on Rails. ভাই কি ব্যাপক ভাই লোকটা, কথা বলেই যাচ্ছে ভাই উইদাউট এক্সস্টন, বাপরে।
million people could figure it out and I couldn't figure it out? And then I think about that with parenthood too. Like how many people, like what is it, 150 billion people have lived, or 100 billion people, or whatever it is. All of them figured out how to be a parent to varying degrees of success or capacity, whatever. But they did it, right? Like that's why we're here. So 100 billion people. Can I figure it out too? Yeah, I could probably figure it out. I could probably figure it out. And then, not just figuring it out, right? That's a mission statement. That's like I need to solve a task. But once you have kids, like, again, it's so trite, and that's what's so amazing. Like you want to say things like "it completes me," and like you actually like mean the words, which sounds.
এই যেটা দেখছি এ হচ্ছে রুবি অন রেলস এর ক্রিয়েটর, ঠিক আছে? হোয়াটসঅ্যাপ খুলে যাচ্ছে আমার, দাঁড়া ভাই, কি ব্যাপক লোক ভাই, কথা বলেই যাচ্ছে বলেই যাচ্ছে বলেই যাচ্ছে, থামছে আর না। হেভি হেভি ভাই,
এটা না দেখতে পাচ্ছি।
দেখবি পুরো পডকাস্টটা, হেভি পডকাস্ট। আমি 1 ঘন্টা ধরে দেখছি ভাই, কি হাসি পাচ্ছে, এত ভালো ভালো কথা বলছে।
এই ছেলেটা কে? এটা আশিস বলে।
আশিস বলে, ও একটা স্ট্রিমার এসছিল মিডিলে।
তো ওকে রিপ্লাই করনি কিছু?
করেছি তো।
ও আচ্ছা, দেখি এরকম বানালে দেখি ল্যান্ডিং পেজটা।
আরে বন্ধ করে দিলাম তো, দেখ একবার তুই পে করে নে, পুল করে নে, আর তুই ওপেন এপিআই এর কিটা দে ভাই। ওপেন এপিআই, ওপেন এআই অনেকগুলো কমিট দিয়েছি, অন্তত 13-14 খানা কমিট দিয়েছি।
আজকে কি বানাবে তাহলে?
সিগমা ডিএসই তো করছিলাম, ওই ওদের কাজটা করে দিই, 5 মিনিট বাকি আছে।
হ্যাঁ, ঠিক আছে, করে নাও, তাহলে স্টার্ট করতে হবে।
শুধু তো ভিউয়ার কাউন্টটা দেবো, বাকি সব এভরিথিং ডান।
ইয়েস, চাই দিচ্ছি, আসছে দাঁড়াও 1 মিনিট।
লুক এট দিস ভাই, এর সাথে ফার্দার কথা হয়েছে ভাই।
কার সাথে?
ফারজা,
কে
ওই যে,
এটা? কে?
আরে ওই যে বল না, আরে ওই বিল্ড স্পেসের যে ক্রিয়েটার।
রিল স্পেসের ক্রিয়েটর?
মনে নেই বিল্ড স্পেস? কালকেই তো কথা।
হ্যাঁ, মনে আছে, এটা গেলাম তো 2 দিন আগের দিনই তো গেলাম। তো গেলাম ওই হ্যাশ নোডের যেটা দিল আমাকে, হ্যাশ নোডের হ্যাকাথনে।
কি হয়েছে?
এবার আমি দেখছিলাম আগের দিন, তো দেখি আমি একটা ভাবছি প্রজেক্ট স্টার্ট করেছি একটা ছোট একটা,
কতগুলো করছিস একসাথে?
সাইডে সাইডে করছি একদিন। এটা একটু যেমন ওই 2D মেটাভার্সের ব্যাকএন্ডটা লিখছি, ঠিক আছে? আর এটা তো তুমি অনেক, আজকে তো তুমিই করলে, আগের দিন আমি করছিলাম, আজকে তুমি এটা করছো। আজকে আমি, তারপরে এটা বেসিক্যালি হচ্ছে হ্যাশ নোডের এপিআই দিয়ে কিছু একটা বানাতে। আর এদের এপিআইটা আসলে গ্রাফ কিউএল আছে না, ওটার জন্য
কয়েকটা ছোট ছোট টেকনোলজিস পড়ে আছে, ওগুলো শিখে নিতে হয়।
এদের অথেন্টিকেশনটা ওতেও নেই হ্যাশ নোডে, এটা এদের পুরোটাই গ্রাফ কিউএল আছে।
রেডিস,
এদের বেসিক নোশনের এপিআই দিয়ে নোশনের সাথে
বুলেমকিউ
ইন্টিগ্রেশন করছি।
और RabbitMQ,
ওই
K-Test,
দেখবি না, ওরা প্রতি বছরই করে হ্যাকাথনটা অনলাইনেই।
GraphQL, আর কি?
আর গুগলেরটাতে চলছে এখন, ওটা কি আর দেবো, জেমিনাই দিয়ে কিছু একটা বানিয়ে দিয়ে দিতে হবে। এখনো 20 দিন মতো আছে ওটাতে।
আমার পিসি কি হ্যাং করছে, আই ডোন্ট নো হোয়াই। আরে ইয়ার, এই ক্রিসটা খালি মেসেজ করেই যাচ্ছে, গেট আ নিউ ম্যাক, অত পয়সা নেই আমার। একটা টাকা খরচা করিনি ল্যাপটপের পিছনে 3 বছরে, ব্যাংক ব্যালেন্স মানে 100 টাকা আমার। উফ, কি কষ্ট।
So fucking stupid. I think I would have thought that before I had kids. But I just go like, of all the things we could try in life, there's a lot of things you should try. You should try at some point to pull 3Gs, You know, it's really fun when like you barely can hold up your head, and you can try that in a race car. You can try that in a merry-go-round. You should try to. If we're talking to programmers here, you should try to like release a piece of open source, or at least submit a ticket to something that's a life experience. You just go like your life will be richer afterwards. So take those little things, right? Like try 3Gs, do a pull request, create life. Like, where do you think it fucking ranks? Where do you think it ranks? It ranks for most people, actually, through all of human history, number one. Number one. I mean, you have literal fucking conquerors who somehow enslave half the world, and they'd go like, yeah, I will die for my children. Like, that's what it is. And it's accessible, like, all the way down here. 100 million or 100 billion people did it. Like, you should do it too. So, huge endorsement of the idea that children are good and you should have them, even if it's for selfish reasons, which is what's so amazing. That even if you're like, I want to create a child because I want to create life in my image, it sounds like you're fucking God, right? So you do that, and then you realize in the act of doing that, almost anyone who goes through that process will become the most selfless person ever that they've ever known in relationship to that new human. We just talked about the potty training, right?
Mhm.
There is literally no amount of money you could pay me to pick up your shit. Like, you'd go like, do you know what? Here's $1 billion. You just have to like assemble my excrements with your hands. I'd go like, keep the billion. Now, fair enough. Other people will make a different choice there, but I'm not going to do that. Do you know what? For my kid, I'd say yuck, and I'm going to do it. I'm just selflessness. It sort of injects into your goddamn being is next level. And I know some people have found that through LSD or whatever. Okay, great, I guess. But also, like, just make a fucking another human. Like, we need them. Like, if you all stop, there's literally not going to be anyone left. Like, that's a truism there. And like, it's going to suck. It's going to suck. We should make more children, and all the ideas, the decel bullshit about like whether you even have the right to do it because climate.
So hey there, I'm Krishna, 13-year-old programmer from India. So in this Build Space season, I built this Chrome extension named Pleasant Web, which is a smart browser extension that alerts you of unsuitable content online. So once I load the extension and then load a page, we get to see the page details in the extension pop up. We get to see the date and time the page was visited in, the average score of inappropriateness of the website, the status, it was appropriate or inappropriate, and the URL of the website. The average score of inappropriateness is calculated on these fields. Like by default, none are selected, so all these fields are taken for the analyzing process. Only if we select fields, only these fields will be taken into count. Like, we'll be notified of only toxicity and severe toxicity in this case. And if any inappropriate content is detected in the current page, then we'll get a PC notification here. So the same thing is performed for images. Like, if we load an image, it will recognize the image and then check if it is inappropriate or appropriate. So I've started this Build Space season with around 300 Twitter followers, and I'm ending with around 450 Twitter followers, so that's a huge gain. And I got some people to check out my Chrome extension, and they use it like every day. Like, I got 6 to 7 people, and that's not a huge number, but I'll try to improve it every day.
Yeah, it is working.